Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing, and today we've got a combination that I definitely have some very high hopes for. We've tested these shells a couple times now and we've gotten better results from them through every different combination we've tried, but I have a feeling that today's choke and constriction might be the ticket to really get them to perform, so we'll see what happens. But as for those shells we've got today, I brought out some more of the good old Remington Express buckshot loads, but these ones are a 12 gauge 2 3/4 inch 27 pellet 4-buck load, moving about 1325 feet per second. We've tested these a couple times, like I just mentioned, with some pretty decent results overall, but we haven't really found that one particular combination these like yet. But that combo might be what I've got out here today. I've got some high hopes for these, and to my surprise, as well as a lot of other people's, some of these new Remington Express shells have actually been some pretty nice patterning shells. So we've definitely got some potential here, that's for sure. But as for the setup we're going to run them through, I brought out the Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and for that choke, I've got the Patternmaster Black Mamba in here. It's a 690 constriction, and it has their gas over constriction coil zone technology stuff in it. The spirals you see on the outside of the choke are also on the inside to kind of let the gases escape from around the wad and stuff like that. Interesting design, and it's kind of Patternmaster's do-all choke. You can run turkey stuff, waterfowl stuff, and buckshot loads through it, and it kind of does well with a wide variety of stuff. It's shown us some very nice buckshot patterns in the past, and I've found that 4-buck really tends to perform well in chokes that are 680 to 690 constriction range, so this might be the ticket here for them. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got the big sheet of paper at 40 yards, the chronograph so we can get our velocity, and the templates that we can lay up over our results. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see if my hypothesis is correct here, and if we're going to get a really nice performance from these Remington 4-buck loads through this Black Mamba 690. All right, that shell gave us 1301 through the chrono. Boss claim is 1325, so we're just a little bit under that. However, that's nothing unusual for these shells. They've been right in the high 1200 range so far, so right at 1300 is about what I expected to see, and that's more than enough for a load of 4-buck like that. But how did they actually pattern through that Black Mamba down there at 40? Let's go check it out and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and we definitely see some very interesting results here. For reference, the white dot was the point of aim. The paper's 36 inches wide by about 44 inches tall, and we had all 27 pellets on the paper, but yet again, this is the third test we've done with these shells, and all 3 times, they have had 30 pellets actually in the shell, rather than just 27. Is it just my one particular box, and I'm getting lucky with 3 extra pellets? I don't know. If it's across the line, Remington just needs to call these a 30 pellet load, because that's happened in all 3 shots we've taken with these so far. But we have all 30 pellets on the paper here, and we have a nice hot little zone right there around our white dot. That's a lot of pellets right in there. So for a core, it's looking really nice. However, we did have some little stringy bits and stragglers and stuff, mainly up here off the top left, that I definitely would like to see tuned in a little bit nicer here, but that has kind of been one of the trends with these shells. We've been getting better and better core areas with the chokes we've been trying, but we still have those little fringe edge, little straggly bits. I did measure the farthest 2 points across in the pattern, which is pretty much from top left to bottom right, is 30 inches worth of spread. However, we had 17 3/4 inches for the main portion of our pattern right here in the center of your screen, around and just below that white dot. So the core area of the pattern being 17 3/4, that's pretty nice. That's absolutely more than capable of getting the job done on whatever you want to use it for. And I think we definitely improved a little bit again going to this Black Mamba 690 when it comes to our core area. However, I don't think we still have found the best choke combo for these shells. If we can get those stragglers refined in, then we're talking. But let's throw a few templates up and see how they actually performed a little better than just a blank sheet of paper. So first up here is our 10-inch circle, and when we line it up with where our actual core was, we had 13 pellets within 10 inches at 40 yards. So usually that would be right at about half the load if it was a 27 pellet load, but 13 out of 30 still isn't that bad. That's a lot of pellets right there within the vital zone down here. And it's a pretty even core as well. You don't have any major voids or anything like that in there. And yeah, that core would absolutely be good enough to hunt with all day long, no doubt about it. But you can still see all the little straggly bits we have, and I would like to see them down in that circle or at least just behind the template. But for a core, looks pretty decent, but let's throw a few animal templates up and see how it would look on an actual hunt. So here's our deer template, and yes, I know not everybody likes to use 4-buck for deer. Some people prefer larger pellets, but 4-buck is more than capable of taking deer within its respective ranges, and this pattern right here would absolutely be devastating on a deer hunt, no doubt about it. You've got probably 85–90% of your load right through the vitals there, and you covered everything right there in a nice centralized area. The deer's not going to go anywhere after that, I can tell you that. So out to 40 yards, that is absolutely a deer huntable combination all day long, but you might want to be a little bit careful with some of those flyers and stuff if there's another deer standing behind him or next to him or something like that. So that is a very nice huntable pattern for sure, especially for a shell that does not have a wad and is not plated. These are just a standard lead pellet with a little bit of buffer material in them. So that is a very solid pattern for deer hunting. But now let's swap over to the hog template, and that'll give us a little better idea of how it looks on a touch smaller body-sized animal as well. And here's that hog template, and like we all suspected, it's very much the same story. If you want to hog hunt with these 4-buck loads, that would absolutely get the job done, no doubt about it. However, a coyote would be just a touch smaller than this hog template is, and yeah, that would be some nasty coyote medicine as well, no doubt about it. Out to 40 yards, that's going to hammer them, and that pattern being as hot as it is in the core, you could push that out to 50 and potentially even a little bit farther if that pattern holds together when it comes to predator hunting. So overall, once again, we definitely made a step in the right direction. As for pattern improvement with these, that's a nasty pattern, but it's not perfect. Maybe if we go just a touch tighter in constriction, we might be able to bring those outer pellets in just a touch more. I do have a 687 extra full in Remington threads we can try, and I've got the 680 Kicks Goblin Thunder choke out of the Mossberg 835 we can try. That choke in particular has been very nice with 4-buck. And of course, I can run the Carlson's Coyote choke that's 665 as well and see what it does with that, but I'm thinking 680s is probably where we're going to want to be with these shells. Either way, solid performance, not much to complain about other than those edges. If we can refine it any more than that, then this is definitely going to be a pretty nasty performance shell, that's for sure. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that pattern right there? That's definitely pretty nice overall. We've got a nice hot core area, but we still have a few flyers. So it's not quite perfect, but I do still think my hypothesis was pretty correct coming into it. These Remington 4-buck loads with that Black Mamba choke definitely is a pretty nice performing combination. You could use that for a very large variety of stuff. Of course, it would be fine for up close and personal home defense type of scenarios. You could use it for property maintenance, you know, varmints, vermin, that kind of stuff, groundhogs, raccoons, possums, skunks, whatever, all the way up to predators with coyotes, foxes, and into the bigger game as well, deer and hogs. It's gonna do the job just fine. So really, that's not a bad combination whatsoever there. But like I just mentioned, I've got a few other ideas on chokes we can try that might even refine these a touch more than that. If we can just bring those edges in, that's gonna be a pretty hard shell to argue with. So we're definitely still on the right track here, that's for sure. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Remington 4-buck loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a pattern or a combo you would hunt with? Or would you still like to see it a little bit more refined than that? And what other choke combos do you want to see us run these shells through? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.